Hi friends, welcome back to Murthy Finance Academy. Before we proceed, a quick disclaimer. The companies which we are going to discuss is purely for educational purpose. Please do not constitute as an investment advice. Let us start. So today we are going to discuss a company which is into CDMO, nothing but Sai Life Sciences. So this company has successfully pivoted from a niche medical chemistry provider for US biotechs into a formidable vertically integrated CRDMO. This strategic evolution creates a high barrier, sticky ecosystem by embedding itself across the discovery to manufacturing continuum. Sai effectively eliminates the friction of technology transfer, a primary pain point for global innovators. This one-stop architecture transforms Sai Life Sciences from a replaceable vendor into a critical infrastructure partner, capturing value at every stage of molecule's life cycle. So its key differentiators are operational velocity. It demonstrated a hit to IND speed of 18 months, providing a significant time to market advantage for biotech clients. Second, it's pipeline maturation. 5 molecules successfully transitioned from discovery to commercial launch. 43 molecules currently in late phase or commercial production. Third is compliance mode. Zero critical observations or data integrity deviations across recent audits, a rare feat in the current Indian manufacturing landscape. So if you see, the global pharmaceutical value chain is undergoing a fundamental realignment for sophisticated investors. The CRDMO model offers a superior risk adjusted play. It replaces the binary all or nothing risk of drug approval with several with service based reliability. As global innovators seek to diversify supply chains away from China and leverage India's production linked incentive PLI schemes for bulk drugs, Sai Life Sciences is perfectly positioned to capture this diverted capital. So, if you see the global CRDMO TAM is nearly projected to reach $303 billion by 2028. And in specifically India market outperformance, it is expected to double to 14 billion by 2028, significantly outpacing the global CAGR. And while small molecules remain the bedrock, which is around 225 billion global market by 2028, the rapid rise of large molecule and specialized segments, peptides, ADCs, represents the new frontier for margin expansion. Sai is 35 to 65% revenue mix between CRO, discovery, and CDMO manufacturing is a deliberate architectural choice. The CRO arm serves as the top of the funnel feeder where early stage research relationships naturally mature into high volume manufacturing contracts, ensuring long term revenue stickiness. So the CDMO segment generates nearly 65% of revenue, logged a 31% year-on-year growth in Q3 fiscal year 2026. So the growth is driven by the expansion of late phase or commercial pool to 43 molecules, providing a buffer against the inherent volume variability of individual commercial drugs. Second segment, the CRO, which nearly generates 35% of revenue. So its discovery services grew 19% year on year. Client stickiness is the lead indicator here, with more than 65% of revenue coming from integrated customers utilizing multiple service lines. So its global delivery model, Sai utilizes a hub and scope innovation strategy. Labs in Boston and Manchester provide high margins, full-time employees, innovation access. So these labs act as the brain, while the Hyderabad and Bidar facilities provide the muscle, offering cost competitive, large-scale GMP manufacturing and research capability. So in Q3 fiscal year 2026, its results confirm that operating leverage is the primary alpha driver for this thesis. A 27% revenue increase triggered a disproportionate 54% jump in EBITDA, signaling that Sai has moved away its heavy investment phase and is now efficiently sweating its assets. So the 605 basis points margin expansion is not merely cyclical. A deep dive in the 9-month data reveals that the 450 basis points of the expansion came from operating leverage on employee costs, while 100 basis points from material margin improvements. This confirms that the current workforce is supporting significantly higher value commercial volumes without a commensurate increase in headcount costs. And if you see the balance sheet, there is a current capex stands at 405 crores, against a 700 crores in target of for fiscal year 2026. So Sai Life Sciences is currently in a profit sweet spot because they have already built their main factories and hired their scientists. Every new order is becoming much more profitable. They are earning significantly more on each rupee of sales because their overhead costs are staying relatively flat while their work becomes more complex and higher paying. So if you see some its key KPIs, the company is having a commercial pipeline which is expanded to 43 late phase or commercial molecules is the moat, critical validator of long-term cash flow stability. Its new modality setup, a revenue contribution from new modalities like peptides and ADCs was 4% in fiscal year 2022, dipped to 3% in fiscal year 23 or 24, but has jumped to 7% again in fiscal year 2025. This is a step up rather than a trend, indicating the successful commissioning of specialized labs. And its current capacity expansion, currently which is standing at 700 KL capacity, is being aggressively expanded. The 450 KL addition signals a land grab strategy in the specialized modality space. Moving into peptides and ADCs is a margin play. These molecules offer significantly higher realization per reactor hour than standard generic APIs. So, management continues to emphasize a science led strategy rather than cost led narrative. So, the company is guiding for a margin between 28 to 30%. So, management is significantly over delivering. So the 28 to 30% range now looks like a sandbagging to manage expectations during the next capex cycle. So management is also focusing on AI-driven retrosynthesis must be viewed with professional skepticism. While they have delivered a library of AI-designed peptides, AI in pharma is rapidly becoming table stakes. Its value lies in incremental efficiency rather than being standalone mode. So the company is looking for the 2026 proof of concept outcome to validate if this truly lowers the cost of goods sold. So the leadership team has a conservative culture. They tend to promise less and deliver more. They hit their 3-year profit targets in a single year, which gives them the credibility to spend heavily on new technologies like AI without worrying the market. So generally, the CRDMOs command a premium over generic pharma due to high entry barriers at 10-year average relationship tenures. So the company currently looks expensive only if you look at the rear view mirror. If you look forward at the doubling of factory capacity and the jump in profit margins, the current price is a fair entry point for the high quality business that is outperforming its peers. So some key red flags or risks which we should not ignore as an investor are capacity digestion risk. The aggressive 700 crore annual capex carries the risk of a utilization lag. The new capacity isn't filled immediately upon commissioning in fiscal year 2027. ROCE will see a temporary sharp decline. Its concentration risk. 18 of the 25 top pharma companies are clients. While prestigious, this makes Sai vulnerable to the R&D budget volatility of the big pharma. And third is a regulatory dependency. A 100% successful track record is an asset, but it also creates high pedestal. Single US FDA warning letter could derail the valuation premium. Fourth, volume variability. Management has flagged that CDMO volumes for individual commercial molecules remain outside the control of the company, making quarterly earnings lumpy. So if you see a small SWOT analysis kind of a thing, the company's core strengths are 100% regulatory track record, integrated CRO to CDMO sticky model, and top tier EBITDA margins of 34% are its key strengths. Coming to weaknesses, high capital intensity, potential for lumpy quarterly earnings due to volume shifts, and opportunities. China plus one structural shift in outsourcing, high margin new modalities, expansion into animal health in March 2027, and threats are utilization lag on new massive capacity, global biotech funding, regulatory tightening, and regulatory policy shifts in US or EU. So the next coming quarters, we need to watch the below. The Q4 fiscal year 2026 commissioning, completion of the 200 fume hood med chem block and capex milestone, finalizing the 700 crore investment target for the fiscal year, margin retention Monitor if EBITDA stays above the 30% mark or reverts to the 28% sustained guidance. Fourth, new modality revenue. Track if the 7% contribution from peptides or ADCs continues to climb. 5. AI or ML validation. Updates on retrosynthesis proof of concept effectiveness. 6. Animal health progress. Validation timeline for the March 2027 commercial launch. So, what is the bottom line? Sai Life Sciences is executing a textbook land grab strategy, utilizing superior operating leverage to fund massive capacity expansion. With margins now rivaling industry leaders and a clear regulatory path, Sai remains a tier 1 play for investors seeking exposure to the global pharmaceutical supply chains migration to India. So currently the company is in the growth play of the sector with 27% revenue jump. It is significantly outperforming its large peers in terms of top line acceleration. So could be its peers like Divi's Laboratories and Syngene International. So the company is in a land grab phase, aggressively filing for new capacity. So Divi's Labs, the steady state giant, while its growth is slower than Sai, its 37.6 EBITDA margins remains the gold standard in the industry. It is currently banking heavily on the GLP-1 weight loss drug wave. Coming to Syngene, currently facing headwinds. Revenue declined slightly this quarter, and the company has lowered its full year guidance to a 3 to 5% decline. It is more dependent on long-term discovery contracts, which are currently seeing tighter R&D budgets globally. So, Sai Life Sciences highly integrated CRO to CDMO model excels in operational velocity. It is rapidly pivoting to high margin new modalities, which now account for 7% of its revenue. Coming to Divi's Labs, it is primarily an API and custom synthesis powerhouse. It doesn't focus as much on the early stage discovery, CRO side, as Sai or Syngene, but dominates in large scale commercial manufacturing. Coming to Syngene, historically, it is a discovery led company. It has the largest scientific workforce, but is currently struggling to transition that research work into massive commercial manufacturing volumes that Sai and Divi's are capturing. So this is the reason why Sai Life Sciences is asking for a premium. So it currently trades at a PE of nearly 60 times, reflecting the market's expectation that its 80% profit growth will continue. For Divi's, it is a safety factor. Divi's is the choice for conservative investors, offering a debt-free balance sheet and consistent 35% plus margins. So if you want to play with Syngene, this will be a recovery play. Syngene is currently the value pick. It is trading at a lower multiple compared to its history, with investors waiting for turnaround in global biotech funding to boost its discovery pipeline. So while Divi remains the king of margins and Syngene holds the legacy of discovery, Sai Life Sciences is currently the speed demon of the pack. It is growing twice as fast as the industry average and closing the margin gap with the leaders, making it the primary beneficiary of the China Plus One shift in 2026. Hope you like this video. If you do like this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to Murthy Finance Academy. Thank you.